I'd like to welcome you to the Science of CBD. In this educational content, we hope that you'll get a better understanding of CBD, get a good idea of some of the research that is already out there, and get a better understanding of why CBD is such a cool ingredient for the spa industry. So what do we know? We know that CBD is already out there. If you haven't tried it yourself personally, you've probably already had a client that has come in and asked questions about it. So we know that it's something that's not just trending, it's already out in the marketplace, so we should all get a better understanding of it. My name is Justin Dotterweich. I'm the CEO of XPRT Skincare, and I will be taking you through this odyssey through CBD exploration. So just wanted to tell you a little bit about XPRT. We're an award-winning skincare company. We've won multiple different beauty awards in the last couple of years, and we have been featured in many of the spa publications that you might be familiar with, from American Spa to Skin Inc. to L&E, Dermascope, Skin Deep. If you haven't heard of XPRT, there's a good chance that you might have seen us around. And a little bit about the XPRT philosophy. We really believe that every product should start with certified organic ingredients, and we formulate products to be gluten-free, but also free of other controversial ingredients like parabens, nanoparticles, synthetic colors, synthetic fragrances. But that's not all. We think that products also need to have clinical levels of proven age-defying active ingredients in addition to organics. XPRT is really about offering the perfect amount of science. And this is the philosophy where we really want to be giving you and your clients the best of both worlds, so you get a heavy dose of science, but you also know that there's purity involved in the process of formulating the products too. And that's what really drives the XPRT's mission. Our mission is to deliver the world's most results-focused products with the purest ingredients possible. So when you think of XPRT's, you really want to be thinking that it's the purest anti-aging skincare. So let's talk about CBD. You're probably thinking, I've heard about CBD, and like we said earlier, if you haven't heard of CBD, your clients definitely have. There is literally billions of dollars of impressions going on in media right now talking about CBD. So if everyone is talking about CBD, who's really using CBD? Well, like we said, it's not just a trend. CBD has already kind of made its way into the marketplace. So the Westin Hotel and Resorts, they are already having CBD services in a lot of their different places. And these can be different massage things. There's feet treatments. They're even looking into different transepidermal patches for home treatments and relaxation that utilize CBD. There's also the JW Marriott and a lot of their properties. They're offering other CBD massages and services. And it's not just one service that's on their menu. Resorts like this are also giving just the opportunity to have CBD as an add-on to other existing treatments. And even the Ritz-Carlton. Some of the most luxurious locations in the world are already offering CBD treatments, including the Ritz-Carlton that is in downtown LA. They have a lot of different CBD services, including a new CBD pedicure. And this is a pretty neat service that includes cannabis and a different type of scrub and CBD oil. And you can really add in CBD to almost any spa service. So if we've got these very nice, well-known resorts using CBD, you might be wondering who else is using CBD. Well, CBD is literally everywhere and in everything. You can drink it, you can apply it from your head to your toe, and some of Hollywood's biggest names are advocating the use of CBD. There are so many celebrities that have talked about or endorsed CBD, including Kim Kardashian. And she didn't just talk about CBD. Kim Kardashian actually threw a CBD-themed baby shower where the entire event was CBD-themed. So I wanted to take you guys through a little social journey so you could get a little peek into what they were doing. every single person that attended her baby shower walked away with a swag bag full of different CBD products, and they had different relaxation services available, and they even made CBD products themselves. You can see that they were making ingestibles, they were making bath products, and it was really just a fun time for them. Before we get too deep into CBD, I did want to touch on some of the legal stuff. That is a big question that not only I'm sure many of you have about CBD, but your clients will want to know some of the legal things behind it. And you can take it from Dr. Expertise. This is some of the verbiage that we use in our marketing on our products and that we encourage our spa partners to use as well. So even though CBD is legal in all 50 states, it is for 18 and over only. And some of the other big things to remember about CBD, like any other supplement or ingredient, you can't be making drug-related claims to it. So just something to pay attention to as the kind of legal landscape of CBD changes. Make sure you're not making any outrageous claims, and make sure you're using some verbiage similar to this when you're marketing the products. So let's explore the science of CBD. And when we're talking about cannabis, we're dealing with upwards of 400 different molecules. These include the more frequently studied cannabinoids like THC and CBD, but there are over 100 minor cannabinoids, dozens of terpenes, a whole bunch of other flavonoids, and a lot of other things that make up cannabis and different cannabis strains. So just know that there is a lot of stuff going on in the world of cannabis. We are going to explore the science of CBD, but just wanted to kind of set the landscape with that. So since we're talking about this, you might be asking yourself, what is CBD? Well, it's actually pretty funny because CBD is just short for cannabidiol. It's not even an acronym like NASA or how NBA stands for the National Basketball Association. It's really just a shorthand phrase for cannabidiol. As you can see, the letters CBD are there in the name, but it's really, they just kind of pick some of the letters, called it CBD, but it does stand for cannabidiol. And cannabidiol is a chemical compound from the cannabis plant. So it's a naturally occurring substance, and one of the most important things for you to know and to be able to share with clients is that CBD is not like THC, another component of cannabis, and THC is what's really psychoactive. And so when people either ingest marijuana or smoke marijuana, it's the THC that is really getting them the feeling of being high. And CBD is non-psychoactive and will not do that. How is CBD manufactured? Well, CBD can be extracted right now in 3 different ways. There can be a CO2 process, an ethanol alcohol process, and an oil process to extract CBD. So what we're doing as we kind of set this up, CBD is just a part of the cannabis plant. So we're wanting to separate it from that so that we can get just the pure CBD and be getting the therapeutic benefits from that. So the CO2 process right now is really one of the purest ways to do this and extract CBD. It's what we here at Expertise, it's what we recommend. And they really kind of push CO2 through the plant in very high pressures, low temperatures, and that's how they get a very, very pure form of CBD. The ethanol process is using a high grain alcohol, and that can lead to having different traces of alcohol and, of course, of other things mixed in with your CBD, but it is one of the processes right now that people use. The oil method is one of the newer methods to extract CBD and is really growing in popularity. But for now, we would recommend, if you're looking at your CBD source, that you're going to want it to be from CO2. How CBD works? Well, CBD exerts its therapeutic impact on a molecular level in our body, but the the way that it does that is still being sorted out a little bit. So science has taught us a lot, but like I mentioned earlier, there's so much more that we're figuring out. Almost daily, weekly, monthly, you're going to see some new research come out about CBD or something that's worth kind of taking a read. Now, cannabidiol, like we mentioned, is the real ingredient behind CBD, and it's pleiotropic. Now, that's a very complicated word, but what it really means is that the drug produces many effects through multiple molecular pathways in our body. It's not a one-to-one. So cannabidiol isn't going to just do one thing in our body. It's actually going to interact in a lot of different ways. And so far, the science that we do know, they've identified 65 molecular targets of CBD. So we're going to break a lot of this stuff down. But basically, CBD can do a lot of different things in your body, and they've already found some of those different things. And this is another really cool aspect of CBD and cannabis research is the endocannabinoid system. The research on marijuana's effects is what led directly to the discovery of the endocannabinoid system. Prior to this, it was an unknown biochemical communication system in our own bodies. So a radically new thing that they have found through cannabis research and the endocannabinoid system, they're finding it plays a very crucial role in regulating our physiology, mood, and a lot more. From our oxygen levels, our body temperature, our internal pH, there's so many different things that they're finding that the endocannabinoid system can impact. And the endocannabinoid system is made up of two main G-protein coupled receptors, CBD1 and CBD2. So when you hear a lot about CBD or the endocannabinoid system, you're constantly going to see these CBD1 and CBD2 receptors referred to. Endocannabinoids are produced on demand. They travel throughout our body backwards across chemical synapses, and they modulate cell activity to maintain a state of biological balance. Almost like osmosis through air or water. It's kind of that back and forth, trying to find that perfect balance. That is a very similar juggling act that our endocannabinoid system performs all day. Now, with these different receptors in our body, this is where the science is really finding that CBD does have a therapeutic effect. They have found that CBD directly interacts with various ion channels, and that is what delivers the therapeutic effect. CBD can bind to TRPV1 receptors, and these specific receptors are known to impact pain perception, inflammation, body temperature, and a lot of different things. Now, when I first read through some of this research, it seems like CBD is such a distant thing to think about. We all might not be fresh out of a biology course or chemistry courses, and I don't know how many of us have our MD, but finding out that actually the capsaicin from chili peppers interacts with this exact same TRPV1 receptor in our body was something that I myself found very, very interesting, because it sounds, again, like CBD, that there has to be all these other things happening for CBD to work, but knowing that there's another plant, a chili pepper, it interacts with the same receptor that CBD does. It just does a lot of different things to our body. Again, can increase body temperature. There's a reason they put capsaicin in mace, causes our eyes to water, and a lot of other things going on in our body. So another thing to kind of bring CBD a little bit closer to you that I've thought of is thinking of poison oak or poison ivy. This is another plant that can just make contact with your skin, and instead of having that great therapeutic effect, it just has a little bit of an irritation to our skin. So knowing that there's plants out there that can just make contact with our skin, that can interact with it, hopefully will kind of bring CBD a little bit closer to you when you're thinking about it or talking about it to clients. So as we really start to explore how CBD works, you're going to find some interesting things. So as we said that the endocannabinoid system is made up of CBD1 and CBD2 receptors, they have found that CBD has actual little binding ability to those receptors, but it does impact several non-cannabinoid systems and ion channels. So, like we said, that endocannabinoid system is trying to keep this homeostasis in your body. There's a lot of different things happening at the same time. So CBD can act through various receptor independent pathways to get a lot of things done in your body. So you might be wondering now, what are cannabinoids? We've explained that cannabidiol is really what CBD is, but cannabinoids are chemical compounds that can trigger other cannabinoids and other receptors in your body. And why this stuff is so cool is that more than 100 cannabinoids have been identified in the marijuana plant. And of these specific molecules, it's the THC and the CBD that have been studied the most extensively. And like I said, there's so much science that is going on right now, but it is already an established scientific fact that cannabinoids and other components of cannabis can modulate many physiological systems in the brain and body. So, even though there's so much things that we're still figuring out, the science has already proven that it does work and it actually does interact with our body. So looking at some of the research, a lot of the preclinical research that has been done here has been sponsored by the US government. And that has been because of the laws that existed, but CBD research is happening all over the world, and a lot of the research that has been done here by our government has shown that CBD has a lot of different properties, from potentially being anti-tumoral, so helping with the growth of tumors or shrinking them. It's an antioxidant, antipsychotic, it's neuroprotective. They are just finding so many different things that CBD can potentially do in our body, and it's just, I think, really, really exciting. And in the coming years, we're only going to find more and more things that CBD can potentially do in the body. And CBD research is already showing us a lot of these benefits. This particular study looked at chronic pain and was performed by the US government. They did this study, they tested on lab rats and applied CBD topical to look at chronic pain. Now, when people have chronic pain, they're having nerve dysfunction. Their nerves aren't acting like they should. This is not the same as when your nerves have a stimulus that they're responding to. And that's when you have healthy nerve function. And this study was one of the ones that I think kind of got people really excited about CBD, because the big finding was that it restored your nerve function back to the way that your nerves should be performing. And there was no side effects that they found in this study. Some of the other studies, they've used Tylenol, or if you're benchmarking even off of ibuprofen, and there's things like that. It's not that we don't have things that can already treat chronic pain. It's just that most of them that are already out there do have known side effects. And they're finding through science that CBD impacts serotonin receptors. And at high concentrations, CBD directly activates HT1A serotonin receptors to deliver an anti-anxiety effect. Now, this particular receptor isn't just involved in anti-anxiety, it's also involved in a range of other biological and neurological processes, including addiction, appetite, sleep, pain perception, nausea, and even vomiting. So they're studying CBD and a lot of different things, but kind of like what I touched on earlier, they've already studied these particular receptors in other things because they are involved in a lot of different biological and neurological processes that we would either like to control, suppress, or inhibit. And scientists on a lot of these different things, it's not that they aren't necessarily positive that it works, but there's so many things that they're still not sure because, like we said earlier, with CBD being pleiotropic, it functions in so many different ways. So it's not just that it's an inhibitor or a blocker, but they know that it does interact with this particular protein receptor known as GPR55. And by blocking these particular signals in your receptors, CBD can act to decrease both bone reabsorption and cancer cell proliferation. And this is where we were talking earlier about them potentially being anti-tumoral. This study that was done looked at cancer cell growth, and it was a study that goes back to 2010. So with the bone reabsorption, they were looking at osteoporosis and cancer. So like I said, science is not solidified yet, but they're definitely taking a look at how CBD can do a lot of these different things in the body. And CBD could even potentially help Alzheimer's disease. CBD activates this PPAR receptor in your body, and why they were looking at this one is because that activation degrades a specific plaque that it builds up in your brain, and they think that is one of the key things that is linked to Alzheimer's disease. So they're kind of reverse engineering what we already know. They're looking at things that we already kind of think may be linked to diseases, and then seeing if CBD interacts or has anything to do with that particular thing. So much of this research, like I said, is just getting going, but I am personally so excited about it because they're finding so many different uses or potential uses for CBD. And CBD is a reuptake inhibitor. They're finding that CBD boosts antioxidant levels in the brain, which regulate different receptor activities. And some of those specific receptors play a significant role in our cardiovascular. They do regulate our oxygen levels in our body, our blood flow, and can have a broad anti-inflammatory effect throughout the body. This is one of the neatest things that I found throughout my CBD research, was that CBD functions as a receptor modulator. So it can either enhance or inhibit a receptor that transmits a signal by changing the shape of the actual receptor. And I just think this is so cool because something like Valium and similar other prescriptions, and these are some ones that are trying to give you anti-anxiety. They're just a prescription that we're using a drug to get that effect. What it does is kind of blocks and inhibits those receptor signals versus modulating and changing the receptor size. So the way that I thought of this is if you think of when you're a kid, the game where you're trying to put circles into circles and squares into squares. If you try to put the square in the circle, it doesn't fit. And that's what CBD is doing in our body. Instead of blocking or plugging up a receptor, it's just modulating. It's changing the shape of the receptor so that those signals can't keep going. And so sometimes, of course, we don't want those signals blocked or inhibited. But in this case, with these specific receptors, that's what is delivering the therapeutic benefit. So they're looking at cannabis and the immune system as well. As we touched on, that they've already are kind of exploring Alzheimer's disease, osteoporosis, whether CBD can have an impact on treating cancer. They're finding that a lot of the research is pointing that cannabinoids have an adaptive immunomodulating effect rather than just a suppressing immune activity response in our body. And a lot of this research remains to be discovered, but it's just so cool that they're looking at this stuff already and finding so many different things. And as they've been exploring kind of all the things that cannabis could potentially do, they've already sequenced the entire cannabis genome. So a company has already sequenced the entire genome of cannabis sativa L. This is only one specific strain of marijuana. There are hundreds of different ones, but it's just neat that they've already mapped this entire genome of this particular strain. So how will it impact research and public health? Well, why I'm so excited and I'm thrilled that you guys are listening to this content, because every phytocannabinoid that they have researched so far has demonstrated therapeutic potential. So it's not just that something that we're hoping that works. Of course, lots of different things have a great placebo effect, even if they're not doing a whole lot in our body. But what they have found is that every phytocannabinoid that they have researched so far, they're finding benefits from. So if you don't think that that's crazy cool, then you just can't get excited about CBD. But I am here to tell you guys that the future is already here. Sativex is a spray that contains cannabis extract that's in late-stage clinical trials in the United States. The product is already approved and available in other countries, including Europe. It's about to be released in the UK. Sativex is prescribed for cancer pain, multiple sclerosis, and is under development for the potential to treat schizophrenia and other neurological conditions. So almost everything that we just covered in some of the research and different ways that they're looking at how CBD can be beneficial, this drug is already approved around the world to use cannabis to treat these different issues, and they're looking to expand what it can be prescribed for. So why would we want to use CBD in skincare or in spa services? Well, early research suggests that CBD may help treat or prevent breakouts, and that's thanks to a lot of different benefits of the ingredient. And that's the way that I want you to think about CBD. Think about it as a raw ingredient. It's only one part of a skincare formula, but it's a crazy cool super ingredient because it reduces inflammation, it fights oxidative damage, so it's an antioxidant. It can really regulate sebum production, your oil production. It's great for people that have dry skin, that have oily skin, and it kills off bacteria, so it's an antimicrobial. So if you were to just take away that CBD and I were to tell you that this one ingredient can do all these things, I think you'd be pretty excited. So thinking about CBD as an ingredient in skincare, it can be so valuable because it can get a lot of the things done that we're trying to achieve for our clients in one powerhouse ingredient. When we look at how CBD is used now in the spa industry, we felt it was very important to have pure CBD, and there's a couple different reasons why we here at Expertise took this approach. But we wanted to have pure CBD that we could offer to you and so that you could offer to your clients. So for us, we felt it was very important to have 100% hemp-derived CBD, and we actually derive ours from 100% organic hemp stock. That was important to us, and we also want to give you some CBD talk so you have some of the lingo, some of the things that your clients are going to be asking you, and so that you have a better understanding of CBD. As we mentioned, CBD is non-psychoactive, it's non-psychotropic, so it will not get you high. And pure hemp-derived CBD will not show up on a drug test. That was something that was really important to us. We knew that it was going to be important to you, so that is why we do recommend that with our pure CBD. And there's a little bit of an argument to be made between full spectrum or CBD isolate, but I just wanted to share with you that some of the more recent studies that have been done, they have shown that both of them work. So it's not where one is going to work tremendously more than the other one. So don't let that be kind of your determining factor when you're looking at CBD products to use. Just know that we chose 100% hemp-derived CBD because you want to have CBD products that are under 0.3% THC to make them legal to be used in spa treatments and sold all over the country. And we always do recommend that you check with your local city laws and county laws, but right now CBD is legal to use in all 50 states. Some other things to look for when you're evaluating CBD products and CBD products for skincare is to make sure that they're 100% hemp derived, because the full spectrum is where you can potentially have those higher THC content, and that's what's going to potentially make products illegal in certain areas, and also where you could have that higher likelihood of something showing positive on a drug test. You do want to check the CBD content of your products. How many total milligrams there are in a product is important, but you still want to do the math and figure out how many milligrams of CBD are in a product per ounce. That's not only going to affect the efficacy of a CBD product, but it's also going to be one of the main factors in determining the price that you're paying for a product. Currently, CBD is one of the more expensive raw ingredients out there. So, of course, if you're going to invest your money, you want to be getting a product that has a high CBD concentration. And kind of like I said a little bit earlier, look at the rest of the formula. CBD is a raw ingredient. It's one ingredient in a product. So having CBD in a formulation doesn't excuse having controversial ingredients in there as well. So look at everything that makes up a product. You wouldn't buy a product or share it with your clients for one ingredient. So don't make that same mistake with CBD. You want to understand everything that's in there. And with CBD and skincare, you definitely want to get started today. According to cannabis research firm, the Brightfield Group, by 2022, the CBD market is expected to reach $22 billion. So yesterday was the perfect time, but if you don't already have CBD in your spa, then you definitely want to add luxurious CBD products to your spa now. It's something that you'll be able to charge a higher price point than a standard facial or your standard massage service, and it's what your clients are looking for now. If you have any questions about CBD that we might not have covered in this, please definitely reach out to us. You can find us online at expertise.com, or you can always email us at info@expertise with any questions. And if you'd like to give us a call, you can reach us at 800-294-1154. And with that, my name is Justin Dotterweich. I'm so happy that you could join us for some CBD talk today and learn a little bit more about the science of CBD. And we'll see you next time as we cover some more interesting content.